This is the NTSU Exec Elections
on Fly FM. VP Services.
What are the main selling points of your manifesto?
I think a lot of my manifesto is based upon what I think the students want, and I want a lot more communication from students because it is our students' union. Like, why not get them more involved in it?
I want to develop firstly on the FES-rep role that came in this year. I think one of the biggest points that came through from the survey that went out after Freshers Week is that disabled students aren't that satisfied with Freshers Week. So if you encompass the FES-rep role and develop it into something that covers all of disabled students, I think that disabled students' opinions of Freshers Week could go up, and then they would have a better week as well.
I would like to get funding. I like to evaluate funding and lobby for funding for private halls because they get left out. They feel like they don't get any attention during Freshers Week. I want to have a platform for talent development, where people can sing, dance, showcase their abilities.
I think the main points in my manifesto that I'm really passionate about is sort of the products and things of the SU, like not just the shop but like the bar and things, and making just more, it's sort of more across campus.
Give It a Go Week and Freshers, obviously a big success in the city. Wouldn't say as much in Brackenhurst and Clifton, obviously due to centralisation of the city. How do you go about improving?
Well, it's something I actually went over to Brackenhurst and spoke to their entertainments committee about all the stuff they do and what they'd want from the VP services role. And they did talk about how they have a lot of issues with Freshers Fair and Give It a Go Week because they don't get any of the freebies, and that makes them quite sad. But one of the things I do want to do to kind of get more people out to like the outer campuses is to put on like a pop-up fancy dress store for Ocean Wednesdays and stuff, so that people in Brackenhurst don't have to travel from like an hour in just to pick some stuff up, to go an hour back out again, to come an hour back in just to go out drinking, like making life easier for them.
Well, Freshers Week, there is a Freshers Fair at every single campus. A lot of people come to the City one because there is more commercial stalls here, whether if it gets some more commercial stalls in the Clifton and the Brack ones to make them sell more and make sure people know that those commercial stalls are going to be there as well.
Give It a Go Week and Freshers, quite similar in a way. How do you make sure one differs from the other? Because obviously Freshers being the main one, Give It a Go, sort of one off the half term.
So Give It a Go Week on my manifesto. I know it's changing slightly from being on the exec already this year. It probably won't be a week next year. I want to move the sign-up aspect of it closer to the start of the first term. So those in Freshers Week who are busy during Freshers Week can have a second chance to sign up for things.
Well, I know from Give It a Go Week, and after being at Trent a few years, it used to be called Refreshers Week, and that used to have a Refreshers Fair, and there was a Give It a Go Fair in City, and that's one thing I'd like to bring across the other campuses. And a lot of the entertainments and things they have in Give It a Go Week specifically for Give It a Go Week, like trying things out. I know a lot of it is around societies, but I'd like to try and add the same events like across campus to give other people the chance to do them.
Give It a Go Week is something I was going to put on my manifesto, but I decided to put because I was anticipating a question about it. Basically, I want to improve that by using the fresher reps, because we have a lot of fresher reps in different campuses, and they've engaged with students for 11 days or 10 days, 11 days. And I feel like they can actually influence, because I was a fresher rep as well. I know we have a certain level of influence with the freshers. We can talk to them and they actually do certain things. I feel like Give It a Go Week this year wasn't as good as could have been, as good as potentially been. So I feel like next year, if I have the role, I would use the fresher reps to kind of explain to students in detail and kind of encourage them to actually give something a second chance. They haven't joined society the first term, they missed out on something, they can actually go do it again.
One of my main points is I really want to put on like an end of year carnival thing that's like quite similar to how Trentival was last year, but make it a lot bigger. Like when I always visualise it, I always see like the end scene in Greece when they're running down into like the fair, but obviously probably can't like afford to do something like that. But I want to do something which is like really fun, because all of my best, like most of my best moments at Trent have been like during the last days of term when they do go all out on them, and I want to take it even further, make them bigger.
Talk about disabled students. What sort of events would you put on that cater to them, do you think?
Well, wheelchair basketball was quite a big thing at Saturday Antics. A lot of people had a lot of fun doing that. Whether that's more things that go on in the City SU during the daytime rather than just at Saturday Antics, so people can get involved that way. I know RAG have had affiliation with Guide Dogs this year, so there's a lot of events that we've done with them that could possibly go into Freshers Week to encompass that sort of student role.
Freshers Week, definitely there needs to be a little bit of tweak in diversity, because I'm sure they're already looking at that right now, because there are a lot of complaints this year about people complaining about not having what they feel engaged them, because they went out like first 2 nights or 3 nights and they stopped going out, or they couldn't really do much because they had like a lot of things for the big six but they didn't have anything for people that live too far or people that live in private halls. And I feel like that needs to be improved as well, like day activities.
A lot of things that like past exec have done and may not be quite successful. So it's sort of a case of probably talking to existing members, see what works, what doesn't work, and maybe try and go from there sort of thing. Find out what's been done in the past, what hasn't quite worked, then adopting strategy rather than just going through like my list of ideas and it being already done and finding out that past exec has not been successful in doing it. And maybe trying to talk to the student population and seeing what they want as well. Because as the Vice President of Services, well, any Vice President, it's all about the students and what they want.
You said in your first year that you put on lots of events yourself, and now you're going to be moving into this executive position. You might do, you might not. How do you make yourself different from the students who could just organise their own events?
Oh, I don't know, that's a tough one. I think like having the support of the Students' Union is like a really key factor, and I'd like to think that if there are people like students that want to put events on, they'd come to me so that I could help back them in the events they want to put on and make sure that they're bigger and better and they've got the promotions that they need and they've got the funding that they need and they know like who to speak to if they want to organise stuff or where they want to do it.
I am where I am today because I'm passionate about encouraging others to be able to have the same experiences. What sort of experiences you had?
So I was a hall rep. I didn't initially apply to be a hall rep. I applied to be a hall rep because some of the exec came around and spoke to me and asked me to apply for it, and I thought, why not? And I think I had a great time being a hall rep, and then because I was a hall rep I moved on to the RAG committee and I've had a great time doing that as well. And from that I've been city liaison on the exec this year. Just want to move on from that, and if I hadn't been city liaison I wouldn't have done what I've done now. So it's just helping people progress and do stuff like that.
You've got leadership skills necessary? Yeah. What leadership skills?
Well, I worked on placement last year at the business school, and I had to, if you ever heard of something called the Thinkabator event, yeah. And I was in charge of developing the plan for this year's event. And when I joined my placement last year, I was kind of thrown into the middle of it, and I had to I had a lot of responsibilities to do with the event being successful, and I feel like that developed my leadership skills a lot, and I had to lead a team of people. And this year, fresher repping, you kind of have to lead a team. You have to kind of help. I wasn't head rep or deputy, but I'm kind of built naturally just lead things. So when my head rep needs something and tells me, I'm just definitely on it. Yeah, I'm just generally on board with things like that, yeah.
So here, would like to build on this whilst adding some variety and keeping all your favourite nightclub events. Of course, Double Vision and Climax are the SU nightclub events, and these haven't really been changed over the course of 10 years. Why do you think you're going to be the person to change them?
Well, I don't really want to change them much because, I mean, nobody likes... Change is good as the rest, but when you change something as big as Climax and Double Vision, you do upset a lot of people.
So what do you mean by variety then?
Like some more events. I know they have the first base on a Wednesday over in the city, so maybe I don't really want that might work on Clifton, it might not. It's something we could look into. But one of the things I'd like to do, I'm trying to work on at the minute as alright, is a masquerade ball for my own, and there has been interest expressed about NTU wide with other halls.
Just remember that for all your candidates for VP Activities, VP Community, VP Education, VP Services and VP Sport, you can view all their manifestos online.
You can also have the option to reopen nomination for any of those categories. And for all the information about the candidates, please check out the Fly FM website and the Trent TV website.